are live.
Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walks. Thursday, big day. We got NBA primetime matchups. We got college hoops. And we got to start talking about UFC 326. Get out ahead of these good numbers that the books are giving us. So, Dan, we got a huge day of plays and guests. Who we got on today's show?
Yeah, absolutely loaded card tonight, Andy. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We got a loaded show for you as well. Gianni is back. He gets his little midweek break so he can come back strong for the weekend. Gianni, we're going to talk the Steam report with him. Andy and he going to break down this UFC card a little bit. We're also going to end the show talking to Kyle Anthony about the UFC 326 event. He's got a best bet for you in the main event and another fight of his choosing. So stay tuned for that. In between, Joe Raineri, he's giving you 3 plays, folks. 2 in the NBA, 1 on the hardwood for college basketball. And it's a big one. Michigan laying the lumber against Iowa. Is there a barking dog there? Is Michigan just going to continue their domination? Joe will let you know. Warriors, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets in NBA action. All along the way, your comments, your questions as well. Andy's going to take you all around the world. And Andy, we have a play that we like in lacrosse so much that we're holding on to it. But here in WTF and LFG, you've got a play here to kick off some golf action that I just love. So let's get this for the folks because this is kicking off. This is for you live viewers because this is a teeing off, I guess I should say, Andy, in about less than an hour. So what are we betting today in golf action?
Yeah, so this goes off about 1:20 p.m. Eastern time, so we want to get this one out of the way. It's the return of Justin Thomas to the PGA Tour, and Dan, we're fading Justin Thomas. He has not played. These are his words, not mine. I haven't played a competitive round of golf since the Ryder Cup. He had hip surgery for a bulging disc in November. He was only cleared a month ago to start driving the ball. I heard an interview with him. He said he's nervous, he's anxious. This is just go out and knock the rust off. And I don't know why he picked this tournament. This is a brutal course. A lot of guys are struggling out there right now. So this is a monster. So we're going to take Hideki Matsuyama round 1 -40 to finish ahead of Justin Thomas. They're in the same group together, so they're going to be playing side by side. Matsuyama finished ahead of Justin Thomas at this event last year. Matsuyama's been very good this year, very consistent. He's always hover around that 20th to top 20. And this first round for Justin Thomas is going to be kind of kicking the rust off. And they're playing in the afternoon, which means the course is drying out. The greens are not as receptive. This is not a course for the faint of heart, and it's certainly not a course for somebody who has not played a meaningful round of golf in about 6 months. So glad to have him back on tour, but he is fade material at this point. So Matsuyama round 1 over Justin Thomas.
I'm in on it, Andy. It's been fired in as we speak, and you should as well because it's going in less than an hour. Real quick before we bring Gianni in, do want to get your thoughts. I guess we're in like the legal tampering period, or it's all a big tampering period. Let's be real. But DJ Moore looks like he's going to the Bills, according to Adam Schefter. Rob Christensen saying his fantasy value going up. My take, Andy, when I first saw, I said, if I'm Josh Allen, and I've been bitching to get a wide receiver for this long, and then they tell me, hey, we traded for a wide receiver, buddy. It's not A.J. Brown. We got you DJ Moore. I don't know how I'm feeling if I'm Josh Allen. I mean, sure, it's an upgrade from the scrubs that he's throwing to, but DJ Moore, the number 1 wide receiver fix, doesn't really feel like a huge move to me personally.
Okay, so what if they tease Josh Allen? They're like, Josh, we traded for a wide receiver who wants out. Oh, he's got a J in his first name as initial. Josh is like, yeah, and it's like, oh, DJ Moore. Okay. Okay. It's kind of like going over your Price is Right bid by $5. You're like,
yeah. I mean, okay, sure.
It's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade for sure, Andy. Let's be real. But is it a world-breaking, game-changing upgrade? I don't know. It's maybe like going from Sean McDermott to their new head coach. It's is it better? Maybe. So yeah, we'll have plenty of that stuff to talk to or react to as we're coming up here. But let's bring in the Greek gambler, Gianni, in the house. Gianni. Andy wasn't with us on Monday when you and I chatted and you gave out those soccer plays. Holy shit, were those free. He gave out an over 2.5 that ended up with like 6 or 7 goals in the game. And then he gave the under. That one was a bit of a sweat, but we cashed it, Gianni. How you doing here on a Thursday? Welcome back, bro.
Angry. I've been up since like 4:30 this morning. Yeah. And here's why. Yesterday, I defined probability, went 0-7. That's like 200 to 1 against. And really hard to do that. It's almost as hard as going 7-0. Probably even a little bit harder. So a little bit angry. But then I what I do is, as always, when in doubt, zoom out. And I zoomed out a little bit, and it made me feel a lot better, because even after a disastrous night like that, I'm still sitting now number 2 in college basketball for the season. So still doing really well, up still over 50 units for 2026. But what pisses me off the most about a night like that is I know it hurt my subscribers. Like, I know for a lot of guys that don't have the discipline to manage risk correctly, that buried them. And that to me is more disheartening than anything else. Like, it is, if I'm 100% confident that every one of my guys bet it correctly, then I wouldn't wake up angry like this. But I know, like, when I produce that bad of a night, it's going to wipe out a lot of people, even though it shouldn't. Like, that's why I love the Steam Room, because I'm able to help guide them through a night like that, a week like that, a month like that. Because even during the most profitable years, you're going to have to face that. And if you're constantly getting wiped out, because that's going to happen, you have to take a step back and figure it out again. Because, like, a bad day, week, month can't bury you. But I know it does. And again, I know everyone loves free picks. They love winning information, but that is more important than anything else. Managing your risk the right way, so that when you do have a bad, disastrous night, you still can go forward, because there's so much value. I have so much information today to share. And that's another thing that I'm pissed off, because I'm being selective. So I'm going lower volume, and I have so much stuff right now with all these markets that I can't even use it for premium. So thank God there's the Steam sheet. Like, again, I'm not touting it, but if you're ever gonna jump on the Steam sheet, do it during the conference tournaments and March Madness, because I'm limited in the volume that I could release. But with the power ratings and with the influx of recreational money, there's so much freaking value on the board. So real quickly, talking about free picks, go to wagertalk.com. I think I have 4 or 5 premium soccer bets pending over the next 3 days. I'm pretty sure I released everyone that I did the subscribers. I also put them up for free at WagerTalk, but there's one on the Steam sheet today that's not, I couldn't release. It's Colombia. The off-screen, 2 of my off-screen books will no longer take any Colombia from us or any Costa Rica. No soccer from Costa Rica, they said. No soccer from Colombia. So I don't know what's going on in those countries, but they do not want any action on soccer from there. So the soccer play that we did bet from Colombia, that's in the Steam sheet, but wasn't able to use it in the system for subscribers because that number just moved quickly. So to make a long story short, we have a lot of info. I have college basketball. I have NBA. No NHL today, but busy day of baskets that starts early. So whatever you want to get into, I'm ready to go. We even have UFC Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely love him. We'll talk UFC with you and Andy here at the end. So Gianni, and dude, I think this is also a great teaching point for folks too. You know, I appreciate that. Obviously, you wake up pissed off for these guys, but also, dude, the best, the sharpest, the greatest minds in the world are gonna have some of those nights. You know what I mean? It just happens. Nobody wins 100% of the time. You and I talked about that on Monday. It just doesn't happen. So real quick, one more time. You know, you mentioned how important it is, but it's so tantamount is like managing your bankroll correctly, guys. Especially, I know if you're starting out, you're probably betting plays more than you should. You know what I mean? You got to learn, but you know, making sure that you're managing that bankroll so that 0-7 night doesn't bury you. You know, how do you do that, Gianni? And also, you know, it's a good reminder and a good sobering moment for folks to say, hey, you know, just because there's 7 plays on the board, the ace likes, that might be, hey, for me and my bankroll, it's 1% each. You know what I mean? Because you can't let that kind of night kill you, because that night's going to happen even if you're the best, even if you have an edge, you know?
It's this simple. Once you know you have an edge, once you've proven over a statistically significant sample size that you have the edge, you now control your future. You get to determine your risk of ruin. What is the risk that I will be wiped out and ruined? The way you do that is by the number of units you have available based on your bankroll. So here's what I'm talking about. Your risk of ruin is what's the risk that you're going to go to zero? Even with an edge, there's a risk you will go to zero. You're going to lose your bankroll because of that randomness in the short term. So to avoid that, you have to bet small in relation to your bankroll. How small? The truth is, when you look at WagerTalk and we release plays 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, those are ratings. They're not bet size recommendations. Because if you're betting 5% per play, you're going broke. That's not me telling you, like, that's not my opinion. That's a mathematical certainty because there's zero chance you have a 5% edge over the VIG on all your bets. That's just not possible. Because remember, the VIG's already 4.5%. So we already have to overcome 4.5% before we're even profitable. So for you to have a 5% edge over that, that now means you have to have a 10% clear edge over the house. Brother, if you could find that every bet, you're why are you even doing this? Go cure cancer and leave sports betting alone because you're way ahead of the rest of the universe. So that's not even probable, let alone possible. So the way to overcome is unit size. And your risk of ruin is simple. You want to keep it to 10% risk of ruin, you need 500 units. That means you're going to double your bankroll 9 out of 10 times, but you will lose it 1 out of 10 times. And that's with 500 units. So what does that mean? If you're betting $10 a unit, you need $5,000. That's correct. So if you're spreading $10 to $50, like we do at WagerTalk, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, which is just the rating. So let's say you're going 1x to 5x, saying I'm going to do it right, betting $10 to $50 at the most, $10 a unit. You need 5 dimes to do that. And you'll be at a 90-10. But again, I don't mean to go long. I know it's going long. The problem is how many bettors out there with a $10,000 bankroll or a $5,000 bankroll are actually betting that small in relation. Very few, bro. That's why 99.5% of sports bettors and accounts will lose and have negative lifetime earnings. Because even if you have an edge, if you overbet it, you are going broke. It took me so long to figure that out because I was around nothing but winning groups and information. I thought I could just bet. And it's going to be so easy. I'll just easily make money. And nothing could be further from the truth. Even within winning information, you got to bet size correctly. Make it easy on yourself. Bet 1%. 1% of your bet size. Flat bet it. When you double your bankroll, now you've proven to yourself that you have the discipline, the patience, and the ability to win long term. But until you can do that, until you could double your bankroll by betting 1% per play, you're not there. It's easy to say, but hard to do. So get that bankroll together, whether it's $1,000, start betting $10 a game and prove to yourself that you have what it takes and you're built to win long term. Not too many people are, but this is the most important factor that's going to determine your success or failure as a sports bettor, how you manage your risk. Nothing more important.
Yep, couldn't agree more. And that is why, Roy, we break down this quite often. You might be watching every day, but there's plenty of people who join the show who haven't.
And I will talk about it every day. Every day I'll talk about it. And not get free plays or nothing every day. Because I don't care about the free plays. That's all nonsense. I could go 5-0 today. That's not going to change your life. But if you start betting correctly, that will change your life. It changed mine. I shouldn't have half the shit I have. I finally learned to use the information at my fingertips. I was my worst enemy by overbetting my edge. So sorry you guys got to hear this. Hopefully for you that are sick of hearing it, it's because it's already sunk in. But the reason 99.5% of all sports betting accounts have negative lifetime earnings is because it hasn't sunk in for the majority. That's just the bottom line.
If I wouldn't break my $300 mic, I would drop it right now, because that's absolute facts that Gianni is preaching right now. And folks, we timestamp every episode for you. So if you don't want the bankroll management talk, guess what? You can scroll to the free picks. But Gianni, let's talk this.
Let's talk free picks.
Let's talk free picks for our guy Roy here. We'll start in hoops, man. Let's start in college basketball, and then you can roll on over to NBA if you got anything in NHL, and then we'll wrap things up. You and Andy can kick around some UFC stuff for the guys. But let's start on the hardwood, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here's some college basketball for you. Regular board, 757. MTSU, Middle Tennessee, plus the 2.5. 798 Valpo, minus 2.5. 768 Iowa, plus the 9. They also took Iowa plus the 5 in the first half. 803 Manhattan, plus the 6. Everything else is in the added board games. 306 573 over 147 Howard Norfolk. 581 over 142.5 Grambling Alabama State. 593 under 141.5 American Boston. 593 American plus the 3. 597 under 142.5 Holy Cross Lehigh. And 578 NC Central minus the 8. So a lot of information there in college basketball. Here's some NBA for you as well. 577 Lakers plus 5.5. That got upgraded to a premium play. So subscribers got that one. 564 Washington minus 2, minus 2.5. 570 Miami minus 12.5. 571 over 227.5 Detroit San Antonio Spurs. 579 New Orleans minus 4.5. 2 bonus picks for you. These are 2 totals. 577 over 239 Lakers Denver. 565 over 229 Dallas Orlando. I specially marked those because I actually bet those a little bit extra, and I'm this close to releasing them to subscribers as premium plays. They're on the Steam sheet, and I'm like holding back because I'm trying to keep low volume, but those are this close to qualifying as premium. So over in Dallas, over in the Lakers. There's some hoops for you. Hope you do some damage today. And March Madness is upon us. Get ready to rock and roll, because a lot of opportunities to make some money.
All right, Gianni, let's talk a little bit of UFC. We got 326 Holloway, Oliveira. I don't see much movement in the main event. I got to be honest, that one's kind of tough for me, and I struggled. It was weird. We do our live show, crushed it making live bets, just crushed it, and then client plays don't go well. And so when I take a look back and I look at what's going well for us, it's the prelims. I think I'm kind of done with the main card for the time being. You talked
about that for a while. Dude, you already know what to do. To do.
Yeah, so that's where I'm settling in on. You got these guys that UFC doesn't want to cut or doesn't want to keep around, so they're going to get cut. You got guys that haven't fought in 2 years, and I look at this. I think the Kyle Barallo Rainieri DeRitter line is ridiculous. What's your thought on that? I'll take DeRitter at plus 225, plus 300 against Barallo.
I haven't touched it, and I thought at first I'm like, DeRitter, you can't look worse than he did in his last fight, almost quitting on the stool. You know what I mean? And that narrative, I always say, no one's ever as good or as bad as they look in any one night. That's a Marco term from sports, and so I was looking to bet DeRitter in his next fight. The problem is Bohio's coming off a loss 2 against Imavov, and that little recency bias with both these guys ruins it a little bit. That's where I'm forced to stay off it. And the guys that I really trust as far as breaking down matchups, they say that this is a stylistic nightmare for DeRitter. Now, I'm not too sure how bad of a nightmare, but they say like it's on paper, like this is a terrible, terrible, terrible matchup for him. And guy that I really respect who doesn't bet chalk was like, bro, I've laid the chalk and I feel comfortable. This one should be close to the minus 400. So that's kind of left me off of this fight. Main event, I agree with you. I think the line's on point. And sometimes that's just going to be the case where whether you take side A or side B, they're both negative EV. If the book prices it correctly and you add in the VIG, that's what's supposed to happen. Where whether we bet side A or side B, there's really no value because the book's going to make money one of 2 ways. By balancing the action exactly so that they just make the VIG, or by having us take the worst of it long term. And that way they're guaranteed to turn a profit. In this spot, that's what I think we're looking at, because I do think Holloway wins this fight 2 out of 3 times. So I need better than minus 200. That's not going to happen. And to bet the Oliveira's side, I need better than plus 200, and I don't think that's going to happen. So it kind of forces me to sit out of the main event and the co-main event, and there's nothing wrong with that, bro, because again, I have a pick. I have an opinion for every one of these college basketball games today because I have a lean and I have a power rating, my own number. So yes, I have an opinion on everything, but that doesn't mean I'm willing to bet everything. You know what I mean? You may have a pick on every fight, but are you willing to have a bet on every fight? That's the difference. That's where you have to separate. So that's the problem. I don't see the value in those fights, but I really do like this card. I already released 5 premium plays to subscribers, including a 5%. My first 5% in MMA in 2026 goes on Saturday night. I'll give you a dog that I released today to subscribers, a 4% at plus 150. And that's Bruno Ferreira over Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop's been on fire. Won 2 straight, won 5 of his last 6. And it's so hard to do that in the UFC, especially when you get up there in age. And now he's fighting a Ferreira who has already beaten him in the past. I like that. In the rematch, winner the first 6 out of 10 times or greater, wins the second. And he's also coming in with momentum, but a little bit overlooked because his last win was against Vittori, who's just looked so bad, having lost 4 straight fights. So he hasn't gotten any real credit for his recent run. So at plus 150, I think it's closer to a coin flip. I like Ferreira, and then I'll give you a total 2 that I released to subscribers. Where did that go? Oh, Lee and Bolanos. Lee and Bolanos under 2 featherweights. Yeah. I like this one under because when you look at Lee coming into the UFC, he's coming off his decision, 2 out of 3 decisions. But prior to that, when you look at his road to the UFC, my man was a closer. First round finishes. Prior to that, finishes. That happens a lot. When you first step up to the UFC, the competition is tougher. Plus, it's that nervousness. You don't want to lose at that level. But as they get more comfortable, they start to let it go. They fall more back to their style. And Bolanos is that guy that is going to be a great dance partner for you. He doesn't take a step backwards. So I see fireworks with these 2. I like the under 2.5. Anything less than minus 150, I thought it was the right side. And I think it was like minus 125 when I released it to subscribers. So those are 2 of the 5 premiums already released. I'm going to have action on Saturday. It's a numbered card, no longer a pay-per-view card. But those tend to offer some value. And the last point I want to make, if you're betting UFC going forward, don't be afraid to bet underdogs. Favorites are way ahead. Exactly 78% through 5 events. Now, we know historically that's not going to be sustainable. Doesn't mean it's going to happen on Saturday, but it does mean that favorites are costing the books a lot more than they should. So they're juicing them up more than they should. So if you'd like to bet a favorite this weekend, and I have a couple on my premium list, you got to have a ton of conviction. Like the favorites, you have to have real strong conviction because we're paying a little more than we should over the next couple weeks until this evens out a little bit because they're getting kicked in the mouth with a lot of 5, 6, 7, 8 team parlays that are winning. Because when you have 13 fights and 10 and 11 favorites are coming in every single week, rest assured that's costing the books a lot. And they're not going to, give you discounts on the favorites going forward. So keep an eye out on that. And we're behind on finishes too. Decisions are ahead, so we should see a little more finishes.
Yeah, it was that one card that really put us ahead. It was 2 cards ago where we had all the decisions. I can tell you my favorite fight to go the distance is actually the co-main, Brallo and DeRitter. It's only 3 rounds. It's not a 5-rounder, and I'm kind of looking at that going, who finishes who? You work with UFC
too, because DeRitter doesn't. DeRitter, I think if he's who we think he is, and that was just a tough night, a bad night, and he was trying to do 5 fights in 1 year or something like that. Then this guy's going to die on his sword Saturday. Like having that narrative, kind of like Charles Oliveira. Once he had that narrative that he's a quitter. And then he went balls to the wall after that. And it's like, you had to kill this guy to get him out of there. And I'm hoping we see that with DeRitter on Saturday, that even if Bahio is the better, technician or fighter, that DeRitter's like, no, I'm not a quitter. Because now that's the moniker and it sucks, that.
I have a completely different theory about DeRitter. So, all right, this was in November, and he had norovirus. Okay,
yeah.
They say it takes about 2 months to fully recover out of that, and he said, "I'm 35. I got to get as many fights in as possible. This is like my last hurrah." I think he's on a special vitamins diet. How this is so quick of a turnaround time for somebody that just got nuked by Brendan Allen.
Yeah,
I think Ritter's going to show up in the best shape of his life. I think he's going to look.
I don't doubt it, bro. I don't doubt it.
He's going to look real good, and I think this is really, really even. I mean, I've been a Kyle Borrallo fan. I've watched him, and I've been making money on that guy since Contender Series, the first and the second time that he fought on Contender Series. So I worry about Borrallo on that one. Curious, before we let you go, just your take on some of these fighters that, like Rodolfo Bellato, Gaston Bolaños, even Cody Durden and Cody Brundage. I mean, these guys are hanging on to their roster spot by a thread. Do you think these matchups are UFC's like trying to get them out of here? Let's bring in the young guys, or
well, we've seen that. We're seeing more and more in that. I can't believe you just mentioned that, because we were actually talking about that. I taped yesterday at the Apex, and we were talking about that very subject, that it seems like they're getting rid of the old guard. Like if the old guard's being able to stand there and be, gatekeepers, they're sticking around. But if they show that they can't be a gatekeeper, they're cutting them right now, and they're bringing in youth. That's especially you see in the flyweight division. They're doing that in the flyweights, like bring in the Joshua Vans, bring in all these young guys. And I agree with you. I think that for a lot of these veterans, it's kind of like their last shot, especially if they're on a 2-3 fight losing streak. This is that, get him a young guy. If he's able to pass him, then okay, he has the gatekeeper status. If not, the young guy gets a good name on his resume, and we could get rid of the, extra baggage, because now it's 3, 4, 5 losses in a row. So yeah, I agree with you. And it makes business. It's not even like, oh, it's a setup or this or that. It's just good business. You know what I mean?
Look at Lonnie Kavanaugh. Comes off a loss, beats. There was no other bigger example of that. You could even go back to Josh Van legit beating Brandon Royval. I don't count the Pantoja, and now look, it's Van and Tyra. That's the future.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. So, all right, Gianni, what do you have up for everybody on Thursday?
All right, the Steam sheet is up and out. It's got NBA, college basketball, NHL. I don't know if there's any NHL yet, because I don't have any NHL yet. And soccer, the Colombian soccer, if you can find it. I have my UFC package up with a 5%, the first of the year. And over at Sports Memo, I have an afternoon college basketball. I swear to you, I'm going to go downstairs and bet this one cash. It was this close to being a 5% play. I held back because I don't know how to do a 5% play over Sports Memo. Like, I know how to do it at 5%. We do it at WagerTalk and over Sports Memo, but I'm like, everything's 1%. So how would they even know that it's a lot stronger? But yeah, I'm 4% at WagerTalk, 1% there, but I'm letting you know. I like it a lot. It's for $7. It's a really, really strong bet. Know that I'm backing that opinion with a lot of my cash. So that's over there, Sports Memo, for only $7. And I put together a college basketball pass, because even after the 0-5 on that college basketball package yesterday, number 2 in profit. And I like today's college basketball package. That's up 4%'s already in there, 3%'s already in there, and hopefully confirm another player or two before the end of the day.
All right, Gianni the Greek, thank you very much for coming on, brother. Good luck today. We will, Dan, we can go. Yeah, we can go over here. So Joe was supposed to be on the show. He is not on the show today.
Yeah, if you recall, Eddie, this is becoming the recurring theme. It's like Matt Damon on, you remember it was like on Kimmel's show, they would always like bump Matt Damon. I feel like Joe's kind of Matt Damoning us. We're the one getting bumped. So unfortunately, if we hear from Joe, we'll have him on. He had 2 NBA plays for you, had a college basketball play for you. We'll see what we can dig up in the meantime. But yeah,
when when one door closes, another opens. Remember what we did last time was I broke down impromptu Joe's NBA games, and if I went 2-0 or 0-2, we give away a 3-day pass.
Are we
So
running it
let's
back?
go.
Let's
Yes,
do
of course,
it.
of
Let's
course
do
we're
it.
running it back.
A man of the people.
Golden State Warriors. I am so shooting from the hip on this one. I have not researched these games. Houston -8.5 over under 213.5. Looking at the Golden State Warriors, 114-101 loss to the Clippers. They get boat raced by the Lakers, and they are on the road here at Houston, which is a nightmare of a spot here. The Rockets, obviously in playoff mode. Worry about the chemistry, but this is such a great spot for them. Their last couple games have gone over this total. This total seems way too low. I'm going with the over 213.5 for Houston and Golden State. And the next game, we got the Lakers and the Nuggets. I'll do the college game. Yeah, give me the college game.
You want it, Andy?
Yeah, give me the college game.
All right. What do you think on this one? And then Joe is here, so we're gonna see how your picks compare to Joe's picks on this one.
Michigan -8.5, easy call. Shout out to the Detroit office. Next NBA game.
That was that easy. That was that easy, yeah. Andy.
Yeah, that was that easy. I don't even need to see the line. It's the Nuggets. The Lakers are front runners. They beat the bad teams. They lose to the good teams. Jokic is going to make DeAndre Ayton his midnight snack tonight. So I'm going to lay the points with the Nuggets. I'm going to take the over for the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. After the show, in the comment section, put your WagerTalk username. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to guess if I'm going to go 0-2 or 2-0. If I sweep the board one way or the other, we're going to pick a winner. So all you have to do is comment below with your WagerTalk username. And if I sweep one way or the other, if we have perfection or complete failure, someone's going to win a 3-day pass. Boom.
I love it. I love it, Andy. And look at this. We get a tip from the best day ever. He said, I'm giving $5 if it means we got Joe mother effing Raineri in the house. So we got a tip. Simply because he saw, Joe's going to be here.
Right.
How we doing, brother?
Get it going. First of all, Andy, I do want to let you know, it just came down that it looks like Anthony Edwards now questionable tonight for Minnesota against Toronto. And that is, I'm starting to see this Toronto line actually crater down to about 4.5. So keep an eye on whether or not he is. And without him, I don't trust Minnesota to begin with, but without Anthony Edwards and Toronto being pretty desperate right now, but healthy, I keep an eye on that because you know what's going to happen. It could be the head fake. All of a sudden he's fine. And all of a sudden this line gets shot back up to like -6, -6.5. But as of right now, he just made the questionable list here. So we got to keep an eye on that. And I'm with you. Shout out to the Detroit office. Iowa, listen, this isn't Iowa football. Like, they're not going to punt 19 times and win 8-6. Like, that's not going to happen. They're not going to play great defense. No, they're going to get absolutely demolished, which is exactly what they should get for a team that can barely score 70 points a game in the Big Ten. And I know Michigan State's on deck for Michigan, but I'm not buying it, man. We just talked to Art. Art's like, wow, we're getting a lot of Iowa love. Not for me, you're not. I think it's Michigan all day long. I think they win by double digits. And then I think they are looking very forward to Senior Day on Sunday so they can put the smackdown on Michigan State once again as well, Andy.
Let's move to NBA here real quick. My take on the Lakers and the Nuggets is that anytime I see the Lakers going up against a playoff caliber team, I just want to fade them. I mean, the record speaks for itself. And listen, what are they supposed to do? Like, they beat the bad teams. They, lose to the good teams. I actually said in the moment, I thought this Luka trade was not nearly the disaster that everyone made it out to be. I think Luka's showing kind of his true colors. This guy is not easy to play with, no matter who you put around him. I like Denver. Lakers are a fade against playoff teams. What do you think?
I am with you, but Denver has been just so annoying. I mean, they cannot. First of all, they can't play any defense. Apparently, Aaron Gordon should be their MVP because without him, they can't stop anybody. They give up, 120 plus points to teams, and everything is a struggle. So the thing with, you're spot on with the Lakers. The thing with the Lakers is they can't beat anybody with a pulse. They beat everyone else that's half dead, but they can't beat anybody with a pulse. Denver has a pulse. Denver at home here, now just a half a game, and which is mind-numbing to me that you've had the Joker back, who's a triple-double machine, and now all of a sudden the Lakers are just a half a game out of that fifth spot there, that fifth seed spot with about 22 games left to go in the season. I just don't trust the Lakers on the road. I can't sweat out an under here either because I can't trust either of them to play enough defense to slow each other down. I'm with you. I'd only look at the over, and I would only look at Denver in this spot here tonight.
Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets. Just on the surface, the 213.
Lucky you, Joe.
Well, the 213.5 just seems way low. Look at what it was 240.
Yep.
The previous game. Someone's good. Rockets probably get to 120 in this one. Warriors aren't putting up much of a fight. This is just incredibly too low of a line. What's your take?
Listen, the problem is with the Warriors is at least they have an understanding of who they are, which is god awful. But they understand that their path for victory is going without Steph Curry, as we still have to chuck up as many three-point shots as we can in a game. And that's the whole rub there, Andy, right? If they make enough of them, and they will, I mean, this is a team that will have no problem taking 35, 40 threes a game. If they make at least enough of them, I don't see how this game stays under, Andy. I think that's the whole thing. I think the Rockets will score their customary amount of points here. I mean, what do we need? 110 or 15 points from them? The Warriors should have no problem adding to that, especially with the volume of threes that they're going to take here. Houston, to me, yes, they're going to win this game. I don't know what the Golden State Warrior love in the market is. Makes kind of no sense that this was 9.5. It's down to 8.5. But I'm with you on the total. The Warriors are going to take 40 or more threes. They don't have to make a ton of them for this thing to go flying over the total, Andy. I'm with you.
Oh, nice. How about that? All right, agreement. Comment below if you think we're going 0-2 or 2-0. We're giving away a 3-day pass. All you got to do is put your WagerTalk username in there. Joe, what do you have up, everybody, for this Thursday? Tell us about best sports betting show. Give us the stick.
Well, make sure you check it out today because you got President Whistler here, and apparently all his friends left him today because they couldn't spend any more time with him.
Smart folks.
By himself, which is probably best for all. However, Art dropped by here today. Art's got some interesting information on some of the sharp bets here today. Make sure you guys take a listen to that. We did hit our parlay of the day yesterday in the show. We've got another one for you here today. Hit another 4% NBA best bet. Charlotte is you got to love this Charlotte team, man. All they do is cash tickets, Andy, every week. The best NBA team since January 1. They're above 500 now, and I don't see them slowing down. But I got another 4% best bet here tonight that's up, along with a couple of college basketball best bets, all available. And take advantage, by the way, buy 3, get 3. That's one of the better promos here, especially heading into the weekend. Now would be the time to hop on board with that. Buy 3, get 3 here over at WagerTalk.com. That's one of my favorite ones right there.
Yeah, the Hornets benefited from Derek White and Jaylen Brown attempting to shoot their way out of their shooting slump last night. Like, I watched the first quarter of that game, and I was like, "Oh, I see where this is going." Jaylen Brown and Derek White ain't going to let anybody shoot.
Like, what is the rush to bring a guy that blew his? Like, what are we doing here? Like, nobody from the East is beating anybody from the West. Like, just keep them shelved and get them healthy for next year. I hope it works out for him because I like Tatum, but I don't get the rush here. I really don't.
I'm kind of with you on it. I would be terrified if my Pacers were bringing back Halliburton.
Right?
I'd be terrified.
For who? For what?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't get it. But he's playing tomorrow. That's what they're saying.
Right. I don't know what went wrong for Boston last night, Joe, but they took 79 shots. Derek White took 17 of them. Jaylen Brown took 19, and Vucevic took 10.
That's it. That explains everything that went wrong with them last night there. So, yes.
Good recipe to lose a game.
That's good stuff, Boston. Yeah, maybe you should bring back Tatum then. Good Lord.
All right, Joe's got a 4% best bet that is up. Thanks for joining us, Joe. Appreciate you, brother.
See you guys.
Have a good one. Yeah.
All right, let's bring in Kyle Anthony real quick. Well, I mean, not real quick, but let's bring in Kyle Anthony, and then we'll do all around
quickly.
The world.
Let us bring Kyle Anthony, but not talk quickly with.
Sorry
Kyle
about
Anthony.
that.
Yes.
Words, not my forte.
Words,
so.
man.
They get tricky.
Kyle,
Words get tricky sometimes.
They do.
So, Kyle, you're tasked with breaking down the main event when you come on here, and I got to be honest, this one's difficult for me. Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira. We've seen these guys have been in our lives for a long, long time. It's the BMF title. So I'm interested in your breakdown because I think the money lines are dialed in about perfect. We've seen very little movement on it. So break down this fight. How are we playing it?
Yeah, so you got Max Holloway. He's sitting around the minus 220 mark. On the comeback here, we've got Charles Oliveira about plus 180. So you know what you're getting from Max, right? We know we're getting a lot of volume. He's a volume machine. He's going to come forward. He's going to push the pace. He has, probably elite level striking, fast developing combinations, good footwork, good distance management, all of those things. Now, since he's moved up to 155 pounds, he's looked fantastic. I mean, I think really now we're seeing him kind of build into that frame. We're seeing the power. We're seeing him again add on to that size, not switching, going back down, back up in weight. He's sticking here. Now, you look at Charles Oliveira. Obviously, another elite level fighter, guy has fought a lot of elite level fighters. The biggest glaring issue that I see on the Oliveira side is going to be his durability. And this is something that we probably have seen throughout his career. I mean, over the last 7-8 fights, he's always hurt. Even in a win, he gets hurt, he gets rocked, he gets wobbled. A lot of those things really are starting to be a little bit, sticking out a little bit more, especially now he's 36 years old. But we did cash a 4-unit play on Charles Oliveira in his last fight against Gamrot. It was a nice win. He went out there, pick 'em price tag, got the job done. That's great and all. But what I didn't like is really how Charles was absorbing shots against Gamrot. Gamrot is a pure wrestler, doesn't have striking, doesn't really offer much on the feet. And although he still was able to hurt Charles Oliveira, I thought that was a bad sign. Yes, Charles got the job done. All of those things, still came into effect. But getting rocked by him, I think someone like Max Holloway is going to land at a higher clip. I think he's got the cleaner striking. I think he's got the far faster hand speed compared to Gamrot. And then you have to put in, will Charles get the takedowns? Because that's really where he could win this fight. Of course, on the feet, it's a possibility, but really getting these takedowns. And I don't really think so because it hasn't been something that Charles has really gone to very successfully. Over his last 8 fights, he only has 6 takedowns. Now, some of those fights obviously were early. They ended in the first or second round, but either way, over the last 8 fights, only 6 takedowns in total. 5 of the 6 takedowns were against Michael Chandler. And that was a fight which kind of wasn't really the greatest showing for Charles. He was 5 for 12 on takedowns in that fight. 15 minutes of control time, needed those takedowns in order to find success here. And Charles, 40% takedown success rate. You've got Max at 83% takedown defense rate. Yes, he has not faced the highest level when you're talking about just pure wrestlers, but Max is well-rounded. Max is able to kind of keep this on the feet. And that's where I see this going here. I think this plays out on the feet. I think you've got to look at Max Holloway being the far more polished striker, going to be probably the harder hitter between these two. Also, you've got Charles, who's willing to engage. He's willing to go in there and throw. He's going to be willing to brawl. He even has said it in multiple interviews. This is for the BMF title. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. If Max, wants to point down and throw, I'm throwing. This is a guy that's very hittable, doesn't have good striking defense, doesn't have a good chin. These are very bad things. Then you look at Max, 2 of his last 3 wins were by knockout. The one that wasn't was against Dustin Poirier, which was a fight where he almost knocked Poirier out, and Poirier is known for his durability. So I think the speed, the volume, the takedown defense is all going to work out well for Max Holloway. So I like the knockout here. I think Max Holloway gets this knockout. It's sitting around plus 175. I think that chin is getting chinned, and I'm taking Max by knockout.
I saw Charles Oliveira finally would admit to what I've known for years, which is Jerem says like, yeah, I know my hair's falling out because I keep dyeing it blonde, but it's like my thing. It's like when my hair goes blonde, I know I'm ready to go to war. And I like for years I've been like, why does he keep dyeing his hair blonde? He's
Yeah, and it's like
his
their
own
whole
hair.
fight camp. They're all gonna do it. They're all gonna go in. Like I said, now he's 36. The hairline's receding a little bit. The chemicals are getting in the skull a little bit. That's part of the game.
I mean, like, it's cool to do in high school. Your hair's gonna grow back quick, but yeah, when you're getting to 40, you're dyeing your hair blonde. You're asking for some side.
He can't do it now. He's got to stick with it. He's got to stick with it.
All right, Holloway by KO. All right, we're going next to Rob Font and Raul Rosas Jr. You could not ask for a different stylistic matchup.
Yeah, right.
You got Raul Rosas, who pretty much can't strike, but can wrestle. You got Rob Font, who can't wrestle, but absolutely can strike. So, clash of styles. How do you break this one down?
Yes, you got Raul Rosas Jr. He's minus 230 on the comeback here. Rob Font plus 185, and you've got Raul Rosas Jr. He's 5-1 in the UFC. He's 21 years old. He got into the UFC at 18, so obviously, he's growing up in the sport. He's primarily a wrestler, gonna look to wrestle, but the UFC is definitely kind of giving him very soft matchups overall. They don't want to throw him to the wolves. They've kind of given him the stylistic matchups that can work out for him. And of course, he's had some nice success there. Well, you've got Rob Font on the other side, who, has fought the who's who of the division throughout probably over the last 8 years. He's fought some of the top level guys. He's been a journeyman. He's won some, he's lost some, but he's always had some good performances, and he's always shown a lot when he's out there. And you've got a situation here where, Font is taking a step down in competition level, and you've got Raul, who's taking a step up in competition. I think that, kind of makes the odds look a little wide when you're looking at it, but obviously the wrestling is where that Rosas needs to go here. He needs to push the pace. He needs to not have any kind of striking, because Font is clearly the better striker. He's got the better boxing, a great jab. He mixes it up very, very well on the feet. While most of what Rosas does on the feet, it's strikes to cut distance. He's just looking to get his hands on it, looking to cut that distance, throw a couple shots, get in front of it, and then look for those takedowns. And that's kind of where I look at this, is where the biggest vulnerability really is for Rob Font, is he is susceptible to being taken down. Over his last 5 fights, he's been taken down 22 times. Now, he has scrambled. He's gotten back to his feet in certain spots, but the path to victory is there for Rosas, and that's really how this is going to go play out. But you also got to look at the fact that Rosas has been fighting to very small margins. I mean, he's just barely won some fights where he really should be dominating. His last 2 fights went to a decision against Richie Lang, very close fight. He needed the takedown, 7.5 minutes of control time to bank the rounds. But the eye-opener was really his most recent fight against Vince Morales. I mean, he should be dunking on Vince Morales. And he went out there, significant strikes landed, was 20-17 on significant strikes. It was 4 takedowns, the 10 minutes of control time, which gave Raul Rosas the victory, banked the rounds. And that's interesting enough. But when you even rewatch the fight, I mean, there were spots where Morales was, sinking in a submission, was reversing Raul Rosas on the ground. And it just was a bad look for him overall. Now, I don't hate anybody taking the Raul Font side. I don't. I mean, anyone who's looking to take that side, I do not blame them for it. But I'm actually going to think that Raul is going to get these takedowns. He's going to get the control time. I think there could be a lot of lulls in this fight here where he's just kind of laying on him, controlling him, because Raul Rosas only averages 1.5 significant strikes landed per minute. Font lands nearly 7 per minute. So it's going to be a control time thing here. So I do think it goes to the judges' scorecards. I think Raul just kind of edges this out, and you get him by decision is plus 120. So I think Raul kind of, is a scrappy fight, competitive rounds, but I do think that Raul gets it on the judges' scorecards, and plus 120, not a bad number there.
All right. So I put Holloway by KO. I parlayed it with Rosas by decision to get plus 456. We need let's add a submission win to get this. This would be 10-1. Your nominees off the bat are Tobias over DR. DR's got some of the worst ground defense in the world. To Mendemberall after Cody Durden blows his wad in the first round and then gets exhausted.
That's one where I lean Cody. I do lean Cody, but let me tell you something. If there's ever something that's live, it's Cody completely screwing up in that second round and sticking his head in the wrong spot. So that's not a bad one either.
All right, let's do that one. Gets us to 24-1. 24-1. Holloway by KO Rosas by decision and Tumen Demborel by submission. There's your all. And maybe we could throw like Cody Brundage to win by DQ when he milks him back to the head.
You know, as soon as he goes down, he's turning that head and he's like, get me right back here.
Right back here, and I'll milk that thing. So, Kyle, what do you have up for UFC 326? Big card.
Yeah, so this is a really great card. I mean, one thing that's been certain is that pay-per-views have always been good to us. So I'm excited about this card. There's obviously everyone loves the name recognition on these cards, but this is a very good card for betting. Love the spots that I have right now. Have a 5% up. I'm going to be adding to that. Again, this is probably going to be a 6 or 7 plays that I'm going to be having by fight night. So we'll be adding to that. Check it out, wagertalk.com, and let's get it done this Saturday.
Kyle, Anthony, giving you props, giving you breakdowns on the main event. Thank you so much. Look forward to your segment every single week talking UFC. Kyle, Anthony, everyone, thank you so much.
Take care.
All right, Dan. We could do all around the world, but I want to talk about what we have up. Steven asked earlier, is the lacrosse play up for sale? Don't get just the lacrosse play. We got a monster few days. We have a 5% rugby play that goes off. It starts tomorrow. We've got a 5% UFC best bet that goes off on Saturday. You've got lacrosse and you've got multiple leagues. We got NCAA, we got PLL. Yep. We hit our NBA play last night, and we hit it in a fashion that makes me feel good about our momentum moving forward. I was a little worried we were going to lose by the hook, but he comes back in. They took him out of the game in the fourth when we were down by the hook, and I was like, oh God, he's not going to come back in. He came back in, gets us over. So I feel good. And the buy 6 days for the price of 3 is a no-brainer. So you get a 3-day pass, you get 3 days added on. That don't buy just one play. It's $69. And Steven, you're going to get every lacrosse play. Even if you just want to get lacrosse, lock that in and pick and choose what plays. We got a bettable NASCAR race as well. So some really good things coming in. Dan, can we pull up who won the Flex Pass yesterday?
Oh, yeah. Let me throw this in here, Andy. I forgot to drop it in there.
Thank you, Brett. Yes.
I loved the comment from the from our guy who sent it in. Here, let me pull it up for you here.
So, yes, my Pacers never stood it. It was like I looked and I was like, that's probably in the second quarter. How close are the Pacers? And I turned it off. They were down 23, and I was like, okay, all right. By the way, I'm glad they didn't put out a line on Ben Shepherd. He didn't even come close. So,
well, see, they were protecting us, but yeah. So we got all about my Bills, big time winner.
Theme of the day, Bills.
Yeah, it all comes full circle here at the end of the show here. But yeah, I like how he said, "I'm taking Teddy and the Buffalo Braves." I mean, like Clippers. So good breakdown there from our man Bills Mafia. Your pass has already been added, so congrats to you, buddy. And pays to win, folks. It pays to comment here as well. Even today, Andy broke down some NBA games and obviously the college basketball game for you. He goes 2-0. You're gonna win, but how do you win? You comment below with your WagerTalk username. Guess what? He goes 0-2. You're going to win as well. So drop a comment, include your WagerTalk username, and you're entered in there. So we'll circle back to that one, man.
I'm feeling better, Dan. I was watching.
It seems like it. That's what I wasn't going to ask.
Get better. Well, so yesterday during the show, my eyes kept watering, and then I realized my eyes have been watering for like 3 days, and that's a symptom of the flu. So I clearly have had the flu for a while. So, but. Let's do some free plays here and before we get out of here. So I do not have an official client play for darts. So take this darts play for what it's. This was the week we were worried about because just didn't like a lot of the matchups. But we'll start with the Spurs and the Pistons, and we'll go De'Aaron Fox under 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Under in every game since the All-Star break, and the Pistons are 4th best defending point guards, not allowing points, rebounds, and assists. So he's going to break this streak, but I got to be honest, if he goes under again tonight, then they're going to lower it maybe down to 24.5. Then I'll be looking to play an under. But for tonight, give me the under. All right, the free darts play. Again, this is not a client play. This is just a free play. This is on DraftKings. I'm going to take a look at the total and the alt totals, and we're going to parlay a couple of them together. Ozempic versus Humphreys. That's Michael Van Gerwen. Over 8.5 legs. Parlayed with Clayton and Van Veen to go over 8.5 legs. That gets you minus 127. Humphreys and Ozempic very, very closely matched. These guys are very even. And it's the same with Clayton and Van Veen. Clayton and Van Veen both have played fantastic, especially in the first rounds. The normal legs are 9.5. I'm going to lower each one to 8.5, parlay them together to get minus 127. And then the aforementioned Lakers Nuggets. Marcus Smart, has anyone noticed Marcus Smart is all of a sudden shooting a lot of threes and making them? So I'll take over 1.5 made threes. You're getting this at plus 120. He's gone over in 4 straight. He has 30 3-point attempts in the last 4 games, which is an insane amount of volume for him. And he's gone over the last 3 games against Denver. So I'll take Marcus Smart plus money over his 3-pointers. So the flu game. I don't believe for a second Michael Jordan had the flu in that game, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just too easy it's too easy to be like, oh, he had the flu. Like, really? Where was the diagnosis? Where was the blood work? Where was the
I didn't see the blood work.
No. So all right, that's going to do it for it, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Great show. Thank you to the guests. Dan, thank you. Got big lacrosse play that goes off today, and then we got our golf play. The WTF LFG starts in about 20 minutes, so we're rooting on Hideki Matsuyama over Justin Thomas. Appreciate you guys. Put your WagerTalk name in the comment section right after the show to win a 3-day pass. We'll be back tomorrow to get everyone ready for the weekend. Good luck on your bets. We'll see you later. Take care.